And David Bixenspan, who does stuff for us, he actually hit up WWE to confirm or deny that story. And WWE released a statement, and this is it, quote, Vince McMahon has established and is personally funding a separate entity from WWE, Alpha Entertainment, to explore investment opportunities across the sports and entertainment landscapes, including professional football. Mr. McMahon has nothing further to announce at this time. And then Chris Harrington, who also does stuff for us, he found that Alpha Entertainment had registered 2 trademarks recently. One is URFL, all capitals, and the other is URFL with a small r, with a little r. And then other sites have been doing trademark research, and they found that another of Vince's companies called VKM Ventures, which I think David said it's the same entity as Alpha, and he renamed the entity. I think that's what he said in one of his stories. But yeah. VKM Ventures had registered football trademarks in September, like United Football League, UFL, and the quote, for the love of football. And Mark Cuban had owned the UFL trademark, and he apparently abandoned it. And so Vince McMahon trademarked it. Now, I got a bunch of info that I want to share that can explain why he might be wanting to do this. The first thing that we need to say, though, is we can't assume based on what we've been told officially, because right now we've heard limited information, right, Sean? So yes. We can't assume based on what we've heard that he's looking to bring back the XFL business model, meaning X number of teams and X number of cities and open-air stadiums and being a viable competitor to the NFL. We can't assume that because it's too premature to assume that, and everything is speculation at this point. So that's the first thing that we need to say. I think that it's very strategic that he's doing this separately from WWE using his own money, because if he does it under WWE, you're going to potentially kill the stock. Yes. And I still think there's an outside chance that they might still hurt the stock, because shareholders might still look at this and say, well, the chairman of the company has shifted his focus on,
yeah, that
right?
should make it shoot up to 40.
Well, maybe if they announced, okay, Paul Levesque is going to be handling the day-to-day business operation. Yeah. I mean, you never know, but there's a chance it could still hurt the stock. But it'd be worse if he did it under WWE. And a third thing we need to say is because he's not doing it under WWE, it's clearly not going to be called the XFL, because the XFL trademarks are owned by WWE. And yes. I think that even if he had the access to that, he wouldn't want to utilize it because of the negative stigma attached to XFL, right?
Sure.
So since this came out, that Vince McMahon is looking to get somehow into pro football again, a lot of wrestling critics and reporters and fans are shitting all over this, saying he's a complete idiot and he's going to, it's going to be a money pit. And that's a very, justifiable thing to say. But Sean, there are some things to look at in terms of why Vince McMahon would want to do this. There are some things that make sense.
Yeah, there's the political landscape, and disclaimer, we're not a political podcast. He's buddies with Donald Trump. His wife is in Trump's cabinet. Donald Trump has railed against the NFL. There is a groundswell of conservatives that haven't necessarily significantly boycotted the NFL, but you've got people like Papa John saying, well, we're pulling our ads because the kneeling during the national anthem is affecting our ad buys. But you got Pizza Hut saying, hell no, it's not. But either way, there are rumors that maybe he wants to start some sort of conservative football league. And initially I'm like, that's stupid. And then I think, God damn it, Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick and Johnny Manziel and Robert Griffin III are out there right now. And if you're going on an entertainment method, you've got 4 guys there who knows if they would even accept deals. But
well,
Vince McMahon, Colin Kaepernick is a heel.
So I look at this from 2 points of view. As far as why would he be looking to do this? One is his personal situation, personal opinion, and the other is the business aspect of it. From a personal opinion aspect, and this is just my opinion, but I think that Vince McMahon, number one, we know he's got a huge ego. We know he's hugely competitive. We know that he hates to lose. And I think he looks at the XFL as a black mark on his legacy. I think that he doesn't want to be remembered for that. It's probably his biggest corporate failure ever, his biggest financial failure ever as a business venture. And I think he'd like to maybe have a do-over at something outside of pro wrestling, especially in terms of football. And then on top of that, and we've talked about this before, I don't think Vince McMahon wants to be remembered as a wrestling promoter, because I think that he still thinks that pro wrestling is viewed as being this dingy, lowbrow form of entertainment that takes place in Legion halls and stuff. I think that he still has that mentality from the 80s about pro wrestling and how the mainstream looks at it. And so I think he wants to be known as an entertainment tycoon as opposed to a pro wrestling promoter. And that's why that's another reason why I think he's personally into this. But there are business reasons why I think he's into this. The first reason is, and I know this from personal experience, so you know that most of Vince McMahon's income is derived by dividends, right? He pulls in a very minimal salary of like $1 million a year. Dividends is where he makes his money. And if I was gonna
get taxed less for that,
well, this is how it works. So I'm gonna assume that he gets paid dividends into a holding company and not personally, right? He probably has a holding company set up, and that's where the dividends go. You can move dividend money tax-free between companies. Right? That's legal. And so what that means is if he, let's say, is getting paid dividends into Vince McMahon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 LLC, he can shift that dividend money into Alpha Entertainment, not pay a lick of tax on it. Meaning that, what's the corporate tax rate right now in the U.S.? Like 35%. They're dropping to like, what, 21 next year, I think? Yeah. So that means that that's 35% of that dividend money that he's saving by just shifting it into another corp and using it to invest in stuff like this.
Oh yeah, I got to register myself as an LLC soon. I mean, as an independent contractor, especially, I got to do that.
Well, that's and like personally, I mean, this is what we do in my company. I have a holding company. I'm paid mostly in dividends, and until you pull the money out personally for personal use, you don't pay tax on it.
Dividends and beef jerky.
Dividends and beef jerky. Yeah. So I think the whole dividend thing is one reason, because he can use that money tax free. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned, the corporate tax rate in the U.S. is going to be dropping. They're expecting from about 35% to about 21%. That's a massive drop, right? And what that means is this venture that he's going to do, Alpha Entertainment, if he turns a profit, because that's a big if, but if he turns a profit, he's only paying 21% tax on it as opposed to 35%, and he's using tax-free dividend money to fund it. So, like, there's a massive tax savings for him to be doing all that, right?
God.
All makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, now it does. It didn't before.
See? Well, this is why I'm here, Sean. Damn it.
I mean, yeah.
But it all makes sense, and then on top of all of that, you talked about it, the decline in popularity of the NFL.
Ratings, not significant, I should say that.
Well, but 9% in television ratings. Live attendance is down in some markets.
Television ratings today, to me, don't mean as much because, I mean, good God, you can find streams of anything. Somebody somewhere is probably illegally streaming our free podcast right now.
Yeah, but you're right, but obviously that doesn't benefit the networks that are paying,
of course,
hundreds of millions of dollars for the rights, right? But here's the thing, so the popularity of the NFL is down, and you mentioned the political landscape and kneeling during the national anthem and all that. There is nothing to prove definitively that that's why popularity is down. It's because of the national anthem thing. And I think if that's Vince McMahon's thinking, oh, I'm going to shift away from that, it's going to fail if that's his thinking, because there's just nothing to prove that's the case. There's a lot of other things that you can look at to speculate why it's down. You could look at things like the league is skewing older. Younger people are more into live streaming. They're more into video games. They're more into social media. That could be why. And that's not going to benefit Vince McMahon if he's trying to get into a football league, right? Then Sports Illustrated did a story in November of last year talking about how they think popularity of football is on a decline because fans miss quote-unquote old school football with big hits and less paranoia about safety. There's no chance Vince McMahon is going to create some kind of an old school league where he's encouraging guys to do helmet-on-helmet hits. No chance he's going to do that when pro wrestling is his bread and butter, and you're already worried about CTE concerns.
We got a story with Daniel Bryan up on Fightful right now, where he's talking about, like, he talked to Peter Rosenberg, and Peter Rosenberg mentioned, yeah, it is a little unusual when you see guys who have been allowed to perform before, and Daniel Bryan goes, no. It's a little weird when you see guys who are allowed to perform now, and I'm not. They brought back Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer. Bully Ray was there. Devon was there. Devon has canyons in his forehead.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Like, you ever seen Abdul the Butcher put like quarters in his? You ever seen that?
Yeah. Dusty as well.
Yeah. Now, another reason why Vince might want to do this, aside from the tax benefits and all that, is rights fees. because
Sure.
rights fees for live sports continue to skyrocket, even though ratings have been slipping, not just in the NFL, but in general. Same with the UFC, because live sports are considered DVR proof, right? And so there might be somebody out there that's willing to throw money at this because it's a live sport and in theory it'll be DVR proof. But I'm going to tell you my opinion. And January 25 is when supposedly there's going to be some kind of an announcement made. My opinion is that he is not looking to create a football league. I think that he is looking to invest in either a new venture that someone else is putting together, or he's looking to invest in something that already exists.
Like arena football or something?
Either
maybe?
arena football, maybe NFL ownership. I know the Carolina Panthers are going to be up for sale. So maybe he's thinking about NFL ownership. Maybe he's looking at arena football. But I think it's going to be something like that. I don't think that he has any plans of doing a major endeavor again like what he did before. I think that he took enough of an ass kicking, and I don't think he plans to do that. I think that he's just going to look to invest. And that statement from WWE was very carefully worded in talking about investments and stuff. It didn't talk about anything more than that. So I think that everybody online going crazy about, oh my God, he's going to bring back the XFL. I just think that's inaccurate.
I had a lot of people asking me, why doesn't he just buy the Carolina Panthers outright? And I said, he can't afford it. He does not. But their value last year was $2.3 billion. They won't sell for that, but that was their value last year.
No,
Vince
but all
McMahon
he has to
doesn't
do
have
is
anywhere near that much money.
No, but all he has to do is get an ownership group together. Do you think that Magic Johnson could afford the Dodgers?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Diddy wants to buy them, and I know that Diddy and Vince McMahon are actually on good terms.
Yeah, and that's all it would take, right? I mean, that Colin Kaepernick guy saying, "Oh, I want in." With all due respect to Colin Kaepernick, there are people at Tim Hortons that have as much money as he does. With all due respect,
like working there.
Could be, or franchise owners potentially.
I was gonna say he got like a $120 million contract.
Did he get to keep it all?
He didn't get to keep a lot of it. No,
I didn't think so. So, but it would be an ownership.
He's doing okay, but he's not in the Diddy Vince McMahon realm, obviously.
Right. Now it'd be a situation where there'd be 7, 8 owners or something, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I think it's going to be. I think that all of the online hoopla about Vince McMahon is going to relaunch the XFL. I think it's just hoopla. And I think he's just going to invest money into other ventures. And that's all I think it is. That's just my personal opinion.